the affairs of the opposition coalition after one of its principals, that is ODM leader Oloo, joined the government following the 2018 truce with President Kenyatta. Now they say that they want the NASA to be dissolved once and for all. I will tell you more on that, but first of all, let me give it to Doreen to take a look at what's happening on the People Daily.
Yes, I'll be taking a look at what is happening on the PD as well as the Standard newspaper. But on the front page of the People's Daily, recovering Pope leads prayers from Rome hospital balcony. I'll be giving details of that in a short while, and actually why he has to lead prayers from the hospital balcony. On the sidebar of the same paper, no trace as hunt for Kangongo enters week 2. You can remember that late last week there was a lady who was shot because of the resemblance that perhaps they had there, but you know, this just gets into week 2 and still there's no trace of the killer cop there. Still on the front page of the same paper, nomination tests for the Big Four, where it just continues to say that it's actually a delicate balancing act as DP Ruto and opposition chiefs Raila, Kalonzo and Mudavadi seek to reward ardent supporters and also ensure democracy prevails in their parties as nominations for key positions beckon ahead of next year's general election, which is just 13 months away. Again, away from matters politics, coming to the same sidebar of the same paper, if you can remember the bill that had been proposed by Aden Duale in regards to sending nudes, it just further on says that this may actually land you in jail for 25 years, and this bill proposed by Garissa Town MP Duale also sets fine of 25 million for that particular offense. So again, that just brings to the fact that I'll be telling you more of that particular article and, you know, perhaps what may actually end up landing you in jail for that kind of offense. Now let's come to matters COVID-19, and again I'll be telling you how Indians are fighting COVID with cow dung. So if you thought it's only AstraZeneca and the Pfizer vaccine, Victor, that can help people fight COVID-19, there's also cow dung, which Indians are using to fight COVID-19. Now let's come to the Standard newspaper. Very quickly on the front page of the same paper, it's 500 million for Uhuru, Raila parties, just the same as how the PD had quite highlighted there, where political parties funding low comes under sharp focus after only Jubilee and Orange party share millions in state cash, locking out all other smaller parties after they failed to achieve the threshold to unlock support. Again, this just continues to unpacking for us how perhaps 2022 general elections will be looking like, which are the most dominant parties, and perhaps what it means for those parties as we gear on for the next general elections. Big shots, I prize with or without a BBI. So we still are continuing with the Constitution Amendment Bill, that is the BBI. Away from that, still on the same front page of the Standard newspaper, actually this is quite an interesting article because it takes, if I can mention, a bigger chunk of the Standard this morning from page 10 up till page 12, and this in regards to Boniface Mwangi, who says we know the Kenya we want. Just a slight bite from what he's saying there is that some would consider activist Boniface Mwangi noisy and a nuisance. At 38, he is unbridled, full of youthful energy, restless, impatient, and prone to taking uncalculated risks. So the article highlights, you know, what he says from an activist point of view and the kind of Kenya that he wants, and I will tell you more of that in just a short while.
All right, and still on the Standard, before I go to the Star newspaper, secrets of Jubilee and ODM power sharing scheme. Okay, now the two outfits are keen to ensure that they're the only key negotiating parties in the proposed broad coalition, and a push for Jubilee and ODM to be designated senior partners in the proposed coalition with other parties joining through either of the two sides could trigger a feud. ODM is reportedly keen on this arrangement that essentially elevates the two as first among equals in the anticipated broad-based coalition, arguing that, after all, it is President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga's 2018 truce being transformed into an alliance. Now, part of the motivation for this move is to narrow the power-sharing bargaining to only the two sides, a case whose proponents say that is made stronger by the realization of the few posts on offer given the uncertainty around the Building Bridges Initiative quest to expand the executive. So it is a talk that is ongoing right now, and how it's going to pan out is just a matter of wait and see. Now, Ruto answers Uhuru on hustler campaign. DP says that he helped Mr. Kenyatta to win the presidency twice, and now is the time to help hustlers. So Deputy President William Ruto yesterday answered President Uhuru Kenyatta, asking him to allow him to work for the hustlers in defense of his campaign slogan that has agitated rivals. Now, days after the president had praised ODM leader Raila Odinga and Wiper's Kalonzo Musyoka for their support of infrastructure development, unlike other unnamed leaders who were only hoodwinking the youth, Dr. Ruto fired back, saying that he had helped Mr. Kenyatta to win the presidency twice, and now it is his time to help the hustlers. So this is it. And let me quote what Dr. William Ruto said. We're looking for the day when we will not be taking thousands or millions of shillings, but when we will take billions to church. That's a good quote there. That's a good quote. It's called politics. It's good called politics. So, and in the game of politics, it's just about how you mudslaying your opponent. That's how you gain your momentum and your ground. So that is politics, and they know how they play this game. All right. So Jubilee UDA clash as police cancel parallel meetings in Kiambaa. That happened yesterday. Jubilee and United Democratic Alliance leaders yesterday engaged in a war of words following the cancellation of a rally and a parallel political meeting in Kiambaa constituency by election, that is, was by police. UDA claimed that it had initially booked Karuri Primary School grounds for a football tournament to popularize its candidate for the parliamentary seat, Mr. John Wanjiku. But Jubilee too said that it had secured the venue and even erected tents only for their rivals to schedule their campaign event at the same place, prompting authorities to cancel the whole of that activity. Of course, the by-election is just 4 days away. Yeah.
On Thursday?
Yes.
I think this is going to be one of those interesting by-elections, you know, being termed as a Titans race between Jubilee and UDA.
Yes.
And yes, you've seen the DP trying to really make inroads in most parts of the country. And we saw that also in the western part of the country where there was Matungu by-election and Kabuchai. And at least there was some other different political parties. But on this specific one, it's actually just Jubilee versus UDA. Who will take who will take it?
And some people said that it will be so embarrassing for the president to lose because that is his backyard, considered to be his backyard. And UDA has really tried to make inroads.
And we cannot ignore that fact.
We can't ignore that because any political party is capable of making a win in any constituency. So the president is not asleep, and UDA is also making some inroads, and it's interesting. I mean, they're politicians, and the more you campaign for your candidate, you have to lure. And for William Ruto, it is his time to popularize the UDA party. Jubilee is also here. I mean,
and also from the inroads that he's been making, I mean, just look at the recently Juja concluded by-elections there. So we saw one of the party affiliated to UDA bagging the seat. So clearly this is why perhaps you're saying this is going to be looked at as one of those interesting by-elections just before we get to the 2022 general elections.
Exactly.
Right.
Litmus test for the president there and the UDA party as well. What do you have, Doreen?
I want to go to that article about how Indians are fighting COVID-19 using cow dung. You can remember that again also sometime if I can mention early mid this year, where there was that what we call the Indian variant, and COVID-19 had really struck that particular country. So just listen to this. With the COVID wreaking havoc all over India, desperate locals in the western state of Gujarat are said to be covering themselves in cow manure and urine, believing it will help prevent infection. The cow is a sacred animal in Hinduism, and coated in cow dung, residents pray to herds of cattle for immunity. Doctors have been urging people to end the practice, saying there is no evidence to support this alternative therapy. They warn that by smearing feces over their bodies, people are at risk of spreading other diseases. I mean, Victor, let me just bring you on into this. Have we gotten to that point where, in as much as yes, COVID is something that we are all battling, as a globe, that we are looking for any alternative measure? Just from this particular article, we understand how cows are important in the Hindu culture.
Exactly.
So is this a reason Australia they would imagine that feces, because this is like our God, sort of, to speak, it had to save?
Well,
Because now coming down to Africa, I mean,
yeah.
the way Indians could use this cow dung, I mean the feces and all of that, coming down back to Africa, we had the notion of the concoction, mixture of ginger, garlic, lemon, and we believed.
I think we just have to rely on what science is telling us. People said that, you know, you'll get that concoction of ginger, garlic, hot water, honey, and what have you. But science has not proven that it's effective. So. Well, we can gamble with so many options around there, but because coronavirus is tuseme tu ni kichwa ngumu.
Imetufikisha hapo yani.
Ni kichwa ngumu. So whichever way you look at it, we'll have to depend on what scientists are telling us. And
because it's a new disease.
It is. And even most scientists are also struggling even to get that effective vaccine and, you know, the overall cure of this virus once and for all.
True.
It's like a common cold, but it's that stubborn common cold.
So stick to science. Leave alone this culture.
Stick to science. I mean, even our grandmothers in the village who would use, you know, the traditional herbs. Mkai tu kutarube msitulete hii kitu. But they used to, you know, those people in the village, you know, our old people in the village, they would use some funny concoction and some, you know, to cure, you know, stomach ache and all that. So, exactly. So that's what's happening. Let's stick to science, okay? Let's take a look at what's happening on the Star newspaper. Now we have Musalia plays hard to get in Uhuru unity bid. Now Kalonzo's relationship with Raila is thawing. A deal is possible to face DP Ruto. All right. Allies want ANC chief to walk out of NASA, saying that it has outlived its purpose. Mother denies. That is on the front page of the Star newspaper. Musalia plays hard to get in Uhuru unity bid. We have got Kalonzo relationship with Raila's is thawing. A deal is possible to face DP Ruto. That is on the front page of the Star newspaper. Now this is it. Inside Uhuru's strategy to leave a mark in every region. And of course, last week the president was in Ukambani, you know, inspecting some of the development projects, that is in Thwake Dam as well as the Konza Techno City there. That is the president's strategy to leave a mark in every region of all the projects that he had started. So let's continue with that. Mother denies suicide theory after receiving daughter's body. Saudi Arabia killing, that's the Saudi Arabia killing. And over the weekend, some of the bodies arrived at the JKIA after, you know, they died they lost their lives in Saudi Arabia, where they went in search of green pastures. Okay. So there's a story here of shock as sad snake visits to mourn friend in Baringo. I will tell you that story, how that happened in Baringo. It's allegedly that the man who died was an expert in catching snakes and, you know, milking their venom. And when the person died, a python appeared from the man's house. So I'll give you more details of that story. Now, Jubilee mobilizes resources in do-or-die campaigns ahead of Kiambaa by-election that is slated for Thursday. All right. So this is it. Committed suicide in Saudi Arabia? Not our girl. That's according to the family. Kisii University students sought employment to be able to complete her course. Now, Ruth Akiri had many times pictured her first visit to an airport, but once did it occur to her it would be to receive the remains of her daughter. All right, so it's a tough situation there for the families. So police officer Kangogo still on the run a week later, and now multi-agency teams have split and moved to Nakuru and Eldoret and the environments where they believe that their wanted colleague Corporal Caroline Kangogo might be hiding. The officers, however, said that there was no sure indication that she is in those places. And now the officers want her to face charges, but they fear a physical confrontation may lead to deaths on both sides. This is because she is a sharpshooter and may decide to go down with those out to arrest her if it reaches that level. Now she's on the run, and that she has resulted in great public fear. And a licensed gun holder shot and wounded a woman in Kiminini on fears that she was Kangogo. This story has just led to an outcry and an uproar among the citizens, saying that anybody called, Chimutai, the lady was shot and got injured in the abdomen of the weekend, sometimes last week. That's on suspicion that she was, the alleged police officer who is being sought by the authorities. So that is what's there. Now, there's that story of grief-stricken snake visits to mourn friend in Baringo. Now, python passed through man's grave, slithered into his empty bed, and slept. Okay, I had to take a break on that. A breather. Now, a mourning snake. That is what the Paz family of an old man who died last month in Baringo North has concluded. Now, Ewoy Nakorot, a renowned snake handler, died on June 30th in Kampi Yasamaki village, aged 86 years. He was buried on Thursday. So the story says, now the following night, a humongous python emerged from the thickets around his mud-walled house and slithered into his bed. Now, the bizarre incident has left the villagers scratching their heads in bewilderment. Said that my husband died after short illness on June 30th, that is according to the wife, and we buried him on Thursday. The snake visited us on Friday around 11 p.m. 11 p.m. Now, she said that the family did not try to chase away or kill the reptile, adding that, quote unquote, we believe it was just decided to visit and mourn its late friend. Okay, I leave it at that point. Okay, so all right, so we have got that story here inside Uhuru's strategy to leave a mark in every region before retirement. President Uhuru Kenyatta and his think tanks have decided and designed a strategy to implement at least one mega infrastructure project in every region before he leaves office, that is next year. The head of state has personally hit the road inspecting the process and the progress of the multi-billion shillings projects and commissioning and launching some a year to the end of his tenure in an effort to cement his legacy and ward off criticism, including from his deputy William Ruto, that his administration is not doing enough to transform Kenya. Uhuru is pushing for the completion of mega projects before his term ends. So part of the president's projects are, in the region we have got Nairobi Express Highway, that is the Uhuru Highway, Wayakiwe. We also have the Eastern Thwake Dam, Kibwezi, Mutomo Road, Konza, Technopolis, and Moyale one-stop border station, as well as the SGR. We have got that SGR heading to Mount Kenya, the Kenol, Makutano, Tharaka Nithi Highway, and Marua as well. We have got in Western Kenya, we have got Kisumu Port, Kenya Shipyard Limited, Siaya Bond Water Project, and Akala Wagai Road. And in Coast Region as well, we have got Lamu Port, Dogo Kundu Bypass, Liwatoni Bridge in Mombasa. And in Northeastern, Isiolo Mandera Road and Marile Marsabit Road. And in Rift Valley, we have construction of Eldoret Town Bypass, Rironi Nakuru, na Mau Summit Dual Carriageway. We have got Kapchoria, Swam, Kitale Road, Naivasha, Njambini Road, as well as upgrading of Lodwa, Lokia, Changamatak Road in northeastern part of Kenya. All right. So let's continue with that. So this is it. Musalia plays hardball in Uhuru Raila Paul deal. Kalonzo's relationship with ODM leader is thawing as and a pact is possible. And of course, last week when President Uhuru Kenyatta was in Ukambani region, we saw Raila Odinga making an unannounced visit and accompanying President Uhuru Kenyatta to Ukambani to inspect the Thwake Dam as well as the Konza Technopolis, and that did not go well with some politicians. That's according to the analysts, saying that the president went there on his capacity and ODM Raila Odinga get crushed. That's according to some of the politicians allied to Wiper Kalonzo Musyoka, who saying that ODM leader Raila Odinga was not invited, and he was there as a gate crusher at that particular event. So this is it. So the proposed law was introduced in the House to for first reading. This is it. And bill to resolve county border disputes revived by senators. I will tell you more on that proposed law, which was introduced in the House for the first reading, slated for Tuesday. That is tomorrow. All right. At that point, I think it's that particular point that we need to take a break, and we'll be right back with more after this. Stay tuned.